the extreme differences is what also makes what you get from the program so valuable, because then you are getting a lot of new things and a lot of different experiences from the program.
I was super happy that students from both ends, they were very creative and they thought about the quality of the final product, so to speak. Present yourself in a nutshell using 3, 4, 5 sentences and a picture. You need to think hard. It's a super easy task. It's a super easy activity, but it was so difficult to perform.
From the Shaft podcast, live in Hong Kong, this is the Shaft Conversations, and I'm Andrews, your host for today. There are programs that teach about leadership all the time. There are programs that foster global awareness, and then there are programs that do both while connecting young people from all places of the world with people sometimes halfway around the world, and to create a unique sense of belonging to achieve impacting outcomes. To put it differently, the Ukraine Youth Action Network isn't just another virtual exchange program. A lot of the time, the way in which I view it is it tends to position itself like a movement, organized and hosted by MapWorks Learning, the network funded also by the Stevens Initiative, which is housed in the Aspens Institute and supported by the Bezos family, lasts over 14 weeks. Now, over these 14 weeks, students from Ukraine, in the United States, and sometimes the EU come together to tackle some of the most pressing challenges faced by war-affected communities, specifically in Ukraine. The stories that they share, the solutions that they brainstorm, and then the projects that they design are ultimately aimed at making a real difference. But here's the thing, this program isn't just about solving problems. It's also about building bridges between cultures, between perspectives, and between young leaders who might never have met otherwise through this program. During the program, students explore their identity, they explore community, they explore leadership. They create videos sometimes to share their personal stories and collaborate on projects and address everything from humanitarian aid to mental health support. And by the end, they are not just classmates, but they are change makers, something that we rarely get to feel within our educational system. Now, the program isn't without its challenges. Obviously, imagine coordinating a global program with projects from students with different time zones, sometimes speaking different languages and facing different realities as well. But here's the twist of it all. Those challenges are what make the program so powerful. Because when these students come together and overcome these obstacles, they redefine exactly what's possible within the modern world. Today, we are diving into the heart of it, how it works, why it matters, and the incredible impact it's having on students and communities alike. Whether you're an educator, a student, or just someone who believes in the power of connection and lifelong impact, this episode is definitely for you. So let's get started. Once again, to the Shaft Conversations. This is a discussion about the Ukraine Youth Action Network program, where brave young leaders are changing the world, usually one project at a time. On this episode with me are three inspiring guests who have gone through the program. Our first guest is Olena Bryk, who is the head of the Foreign Languages Department at Mridiy School in Lviv. She's an inspiring teacher who dedicates several hours to assisting and guiding her students through the program. She values the goals and aspirations and ideals of the program, and she's here with two students of hers who have studied the program and gone through it successfully. Our other two guests, who are Olena students, go by Eldar and Hryhorii. They are eighth graders from Olena's school. During their program, they collaborated with students from the Learning Community Charter School, a school in Jersey City in the United States, and together held two charity events in both schools to raise money for the rehabilitation of Ukrainian veterans. So first, I would say welcome to you all. And to get you started, I would pose a question which will ease you into the conversation. So if someone who was hearing about the Ukraine Youth Action Network program for the very first time asked you, what is the program about and how does it empower students? what would be your first words to introduce that person to the program, basically testing how you feel about the program? And I'll start with Olena, and then I'll bring in your two students. So first of all, thank you for coming to the podcast, and then you can go ahead with your answer to the question.
Hi, thank you for having me here. It's my
Yeah.
pleasure. Um, my first words probably would be it takes 1,000 words to tell a single story.
Wow.
Because this is how I feel in this project. This is how we connect all the stories and initiatives of
Yeah.
different children on both continents. And this is how we come up with a nice and powerful and very impactful story at the end.
Interesting. It takes 1,000 words to tell a single story. Cool. Okay, I would come back to it. Um,
Okay.
let's go to Eldar.
Yeah,
What are your first assessments of the program? If somebody just asked you about the program, what would you tell them?
my quote probably would be big journeys begin with small steps. Yeah,
Okay.
and I'd say the goal of the program is to connect not only American children, but Ukrainian. Yes. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, we made new friends. We even exchanged our numbers in the like program. Yes, thank you.
Okay. So, wow. Okay. A journey always begins with one step, and that's Eldar's code for how you describe the program. Let's go to Hryhorii. How would you describe the program to someone who asks you for the very first time?
I think it's all about respect. If we didn't respect each other, nothing would come out in the end. Like we had to respect each other's differences,
Yeah.
and just we had to listen to each other.
Yeah. This is quite interesting for me because listening to all of you, sort of everybody picks different parts of the program, but when you piece it together, it rounds up the program in its entirety. Because Olena talks about stories and how powerful they are. Eldar talks about the journey itself, and Hryhorii talks about the core value that drives both of these two things, which is respect and appreciation of each other's stories and where we come from. How powerful and how moving were the stories you got to experience in the program, Olena? Because I'm quite curious as to why that specific quote of 1,000 words tells one story.
Well, I'll begin probably with the final story of the project. The
Yeah.
moment when we celebrated the unity in different schools, doing
Yeah.
simultaneously two different events. We were holding, like you said previously, our school in Lviv held a Christmas fair, and LCCS, a school in New Jersey, Jersey City, basically, they held their holiday bake sale, but there
Okay.
was the same goal because we helped Ukrainian veterans to get enough money for their quality rehabilitation. And when one of the representatives from Ukrainian army, a veteran, came
Yeah.
with a visit to our school on the day of the fair, and we hosted him there. This was a very powerful story because the person went through all the he went all the journey through the war,
Yeah.
but he found his time to come and talk to children. And we were so very pleased with his visit. So this was probably the best story of the project.
That's a really, really moving conclusion
Yeah.
because I'm imagining what else would make someone of that stature come around to school and sort of interact with people. Um, let's take it a bit back and then we'll work our way back to the project again. So back to Hryhorii, I wanted to know the first time the project or the program was presented to you. I'm sure there was a time you never knew anything about it, and then your teacher said, "Oh, there's this program. I'm signing you up for it, or you should sign up." What were your expectations of the program? And after you joined the program, did you meet your expectations, or did it even beat the expectations that you had?
To be honest, it even beat my expectations because I thought we wouldn't get along with the Americans. Are
Oh,
completely different from us. But after we shared some fun facts about ourselves, I saw that they're actually not so different.
yeah. So, at what point in the program did you realize that actually we could get along with them and you weren't that different after all? Was it after the photo sharing or the video sharing or the class videos?
I think after the video share,
The video sharing. What about the video sharing made you feel that way? Did you watch their videos and you now saw how similar you were to them?
yes, they in the videos I saw that they actually wanted to do the project,
Okay.
and uh, they were just uh, really nice. I,
Yeah. That's really interesting. Um, because sometimes virtual programs are branded as not intimate enough or not that the amount of connection you get from a virtual program is not that great. And so to get to hear from you that the way in which the program is designed, that at some stage you have to share a video of yourself, and that makes you feel a lot more connected to the other person all the way on the other side of the world is really, really inspiring. Eldar, same question for you as well.
Yes.
What were your expectations when you joined the program?
I didn't really expect much. I thought it's going to be like a boring program, but like in the beginning, I understood it's going to be like so good that I haven't missed any of the meetings, anything. I were excited for this. Yeah.
Interesting. What was your favorite part of the program? Was there a part where you felt like, I'm glad I joined this program?
Maybe like when we introduced our school, each one of the programs members made a small video about their school
Yeah.
representing a small part of it, maybe like a sport hall or the maybe classes. Yes, that's when I understood it's going to be great.
Awesome. Let's come back to you, Olena, for a few more questions before we move back to the students. I wanted to know, because I'm sure you did some amount of work on the back end or behind the scenes before the program started. The curriculum of the program, you saw the outline, you saw all the activities that we were going to do. Which of these activities did you look at and go like, I think this is the point where students will realize this is a different program?
I guess I will support Eldar here because when you present a big video
Yeah.
about your school, it's not the video about the school only. This is the video about your community. This is about
Okay.
the way we not only study. This is about the way we live in Ukraine now. This is how we communicate. This is how we build the relationship between the students these days.
Yeah.
And I was super excited when the students started working on the school videos. And then that moment when we sent our video, so we basically posted it on the Narrative Atlas platform, and
Yeah.
the students from LCCS did the same. I was expecting with enthusiasm this moment when I show this video to my students for the first time,
Oh, yeah.
because this is the moment when they want to see how the school on the other side of the earth probably looks like, how the
Yeah.
children study there, what do they do every day, where do they eat, where do they study, how do they communicate at school. And this was that very moment when this ice breaking cracked between us. It was so great. Then everything went smoothly because our first Zoom call, we knew a lot of things about each other by that time, and it was
Yeah.
easy for us to talk because we knew the people. This was the moment, probably.
That's that's you describing it and me imagining how it felt is so nice. And so a little bit emotional. Because it's like you see this gap between two groups of people just die down, and then there's a complete unification for them to feel connected to each other truly. And that's really inspiring to see. Eldar, what was your favorite thing about your Zoom sessions? How many Zoom sessions did you have, and which one did you enjoy the most? What activities did you do there?
If I remember like correctly, we had like 3 probably or 2 sessions that I was a member, I guess I can say so.
Okay.
It was probably the final one when we presented our project, when I had a big part of presenting it. Like, yeah, I read the most text. Yeah, it was a hard time remembering it. But yeah, it was a good feeling when I finished reading it. And I got to listen to what the other schools said. Yeah.
Amazing. What about you, Hryhorii? What was your favorite part of the Zoom sessions? Which of them did you enjoy the most?
I think the same one as Eldar said, the fun one, because we saw people presenting their projects and they were really nice, and but it was kind of hard to stay awake because it was pretty early in our country.
Yeah.
But it was just a nice moment where everyone just got together and presented what we all did through a few months.
Beautiful. I think we've been talking about all the nice parts so far, and I want to pick us a little bit away from that and get into the challenges that you faced or the difficulties that you faced, if any. And for this one, I would go the reverse. I'll go from the students and then come to you, Olena, on some of the challenges that you faced in the program. So back to you, Hryhorii. What were the challenges that you faced? At what point did you feel like there's this thing about this program at this point that I wish we could change, but maybe I'm struggling with it? And were you able to fix it? And did you have to just get the program done without being able to fix it?
As I said earlier, there was a problem with we didn't get much sleep, but we can't really change it. Yeah.
How come though? How come you didn't get much sleep?
Just school starts usually at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
But you'll already be in school at, I think, 7:30, and it was hard.
Oh, for the Zoom calls.
Yes.
Okay. That's quite interesting because it also points to the time difference and how sometimes uncomfortable it is to work with people over extremely distant time zones. So you had to sometimes sacrifice your sleep to get to school early to do the Zoom calls. Interesting, because I know that also says a lot about how much you sort of loved the program or enjoyed the program, because I like sleep, and sometimes I just find it so difficult that when I fall asleep, I would wake up early to join a Zoom call. But that also says a lot about the commitment that you had or you have for the program, and it's really great to see. Eldar, is it the same issue for you, or you had a different challenge in the program?
No, I could agree with Hryhorii, but I'd like to add a thing. It was hard for us to wake up at like 6, I could say. Like not for me. I live like 100 meters from school, so it's easy. So it was easy for me, but it was a challenge for New Jersey because their representative had to wake up at like 1 a.m. and go to a Zoom call, and he was like so concentrated. Yeah, it was insane. Like, how could he stay up at this time and stay so concentrated? Yeah.
Yeah. That's so true as
So
well.
time was our main enemy.
Time was the enemy. That's fun. I also sort of,
Yeah.
just to be clear, I really love the fact that you are appreciating the efforts of the partner school as well, and how much uncomfortable it was for them sometimes to just find a time and just meet, right? Do you think that the time zone affected maybe how well the program could have went? Like, were you able to text in the groups at the same time, or did you have to come and read their texts after they've posted it? How were you dealing with the time differences to get the most out of the program? Eldar, you first.
Yeah, I could say it like affected our project because if our time zones were the same, it would be like much easier to communicate, like join Zoom calls and everything. Yeah,
So how did you
much easier.
how did you deal with that? How did you beat that? Did you have to make compromises for the interest of the program?
Yes, we like I think it was like one time the Americans from New Jersey and Miami, I believe, they like had to sacrifice, I guess, their sleep for us, and the next time we had to do it. So like yeah.
Oh, okay. That's proper collaboration. Everybody takes a piece of the pain, and then we move along. Hryhorii, any comments to add on this one before I pass it on to Olena?
Yes, if we would be in the same time zone, we would be pretty close to each other, but because we were like 12 hours apart from each other, we were
Yeah,
on the different sides of the world. And like, if we were in the same time zone, we wouldn't appreciate each other's differences, and uh, there would be less things to share.
yeah, yeah. I think it's an important thing you've mentioned there because the the extreme differences is what also makes what you get from the program so valuable, because then you are getting a lot of new things and a lot of different experiences from the program, which comes at a price of compromising sometimes with your sleep and dealing with the time zones. So it's sort of a mixed bag, but in the end, you get the best version of the program, which I really appreciate from your end. Olena, I know you dealt with this program probably on a much bigger scale, because beyond having to deal with the Zoom sessions, you have to collaborate with teachers, you have to collaborate with a facilitator who is, I don't know, I think maybe you were facilitating your group, but sometimes you have to collaborate with other people who are also in different time zones. You sometimes have to join Zoom calls with people from 4, 5, 6 different time zones. How did you deal with that aspect of it? And what were the challenges you faced in that collaboration process? And what was the best way you found to resolve or to get the most out of the program despite this?
Well, 100%, I agree with my students that the time difference is probably the most challenging thing here in this project. But
Yeah,
and also I usually try to tell to my students that if you want to get extra results, you need to input some extra efforts in everything you
yeah,
do. That's why flexibility is probably the best soft skill you can develop here
yeah,
in this project. Not only did we deal with the time difference, but also we had to narrow down our choice of the project topic, for example.
yeah,
Initially, we came up with the three of them, and they were absolutely different. We even had a vote on the platform, and everybody had a chance to speak up. And then we had a Zoom call, and we narrowed down to three. But finally, those who wanted to do number one and number two, there were less of the students, not that
okay,
much of many of us. That's why everybody decided to do one common thing. And this is
yeah,
about the flexibility as well. You need
yeah,
to face other people's views and desires and their initiatives. We need to respect these as well. This is about that. If you are flexible, you're going to be fine here in this project.
Interesting. I mean, this still comes back to Hryhorii's initial value of respect and the most important thing he would use to describe the program. And like you are saying, it looked like throughout the program, the most defining element at every single challenging point was people approaching things with respect and being willing to be flexible, compromise, and do things for the best interest of the group, as opposed to being just saying, oh, I don't want to do it and I don't like it and all that, which is really good because I think, to be very honest, in the real world, not everything is perfect. You barely have situations that go entirely your way. And so understanding some of these core skills and developing them through the program goes a whole long way. And sometimes we don't even know it in the moment. It's when we are growing way down the line, then we realize, I am so flexible and I can adjust to uncomfortable situations now. And I now appreciate what the Ukraine Youth Action Network program did for me. And I do same now with debating, because I debated for about 7 to 8 years back when I was in uni, up until I think a year ago when I've stopped debating a lot. And I realized that I listen more than the average person listens. And then I can now appreciate her. Debate forced me to listen to a lot of people, because then I just wanted to respond to their argument and win the debate. But by default, it's made me a better listener, which made me a better student, which makes me a better employee, because when we are in a meeting, for instance, I can listen a lot more than other people would listen to. And even then, it also makes me a better podcast host, because then I can concentrate and listen to everyone, which is good. Yeah. So it's really, really interesting that these are some of the skills that are being developed through the program. And I hope that all the students get to pick up on some of these skills and really get to benefit from them as much as possible. Now, let's get into the project itself. What were the other two projects that you were considering, Olena, before you decided to settle on this one?
Since the time of the presentation of the project was Christmas, one of our ideas was to dive deeper into the origin of a very famous song, like Christmas Carol of the Bells, which was originally written by a Ukrainian composer. And then it became famous in the United States. We wanted to make a kind of a cultural bridge between the two countries. We wanted our Ukrainian students to dive deeper into the origin of the song and into the life of the composer. And then we wanted just to just pull the ball to the United States, and we wanted them to tell the story about the success of the story, of the song itself. But I guess we didn't find enough of maybe time from both sides, but we still keep this as one of the ideas for our future collaboration with Ukraine Youth Action Network. So we keep this idea for later.
It's a really beautiful idea, a super beautiful idea.
This is something very meaningful for us and very impactful. The other one was a very interesting thing to do as well. We wanted to shoot small videos, like tiny videos, on Christmas traditions in Ukraine and the United States. We wanted to split the like prompts in the video into different categories. For example, when do you decorate Christmas trees in Ukraine and in the United States? What do you usually get for Christmas? What's the typical Christmas dinner? And we wanted to make double videos. We do this in Ukraine and you do a different thing in the United States. But then there wasn't enough students who wanted to do this. That's why we joined our efforts and we did this fundraising thing initially.
Yeah. I mean, to be very honest, all the two projects you've just described are really exciting projects. Like, I listen to them, I wish I was the student to do them, or I wish I could just see the final outcome of the project, because they're brilliant ideas as well. But the project that you eventually did, which is to raise funds to support Ukrainian veterans, it's also a super emotional project and a very inspiring project at that. And I would go to Eldar to tell me a little bit about when you were going through the project, when you were preparing, when you were setting up, when you were getting ready for the fundraiser. How did you feel? What were the emotions that you were experiencing at the time?
Like the most I felt excited, a little bit worried, like stressed because maybe like there won't be people on the like Christmas fair. Maybe like
Yeah.
some of the recipes didn't come to American school in New Jersey. Like yeah, we shared our recipes to them, and they shared our like Christmas food recipes. And yeah, most of the time I felt a little bit stressed and excited. Yes.
Quite an interesting mix, stress and excitement. Hryhorii, how did you feel? What were the emotions that you were experiencing throughout the project?
So I knew that we had to be careful because everything we sold uh, had to be made with love, so people would actually buy it and
Yeah.
donate the money to the veterans. So we had to make like cookies, whatever we sold there. We had to make it all with love.
That's that's so powerful as well. Keeping it at the back of your mind, the reason why you are doing this, and the value and the emotion that has to be behind it for it to work. A little bit on the two of you again. When you listen to the other options, they sounded fun. This one sounded super specific, um, for helping Ukrainian veterans, a lot more emotional. Um, in the end, when you completed the project and you were able to make a donation, how do you feel about how the project ended? How do you feel about yourself? Do you feel you've made a major contribution? Do you view yourself now? I think I'm not just a nobody who is sitting somewhere. Even though I'm a student, I can actually put in some effort. And with collaboration, with friends, with unity, we could get something tangible done. Eldar, you can go for this
Yeah,
one.
yeah. I felt like I placed my how can I say like yeah. I taken my part in this. I filmed a lot of the fair, and like I baked some stuff. I sold it, and there was also another project that I participated in. It was selling like yarn, yarn eco bags. Yeah,
Yeah.
it it was exciting. Yes, it was really emotional.
Okay. Hryhorii, what about you? You did the things with love, which was super inspiring. Eventually, the project ends. What were the emotions that were going through, and how did you feel about yourself after you were able to complete the project?
I was kind of proud in myself and my classmates. We did a good thing.
Yeah.
We had and uh, we felt like uh, they this project like made my when we after we donated that money. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's it's good.
Interesting. I don't. I genuinely feel if I was there, I would have probably shed tears. Because those are some moments that really, really look inspiring. Because you look at students, you look at the amount of effort, the amount of love, the amount of collaboration that it takes to get this done. Um, Olena, you were supervising these students while they went through all this. First of all, how did you feel about them as you saw them progress through the stages of the project and eventually complete it?
At first, I was worried a little bit
Yeah.
because, well, you never know how it's going to work.
Yeah.
And you never know whether it works finally or not.
Yeah.
But I was super happy that students from both ends, they were very creative and they thought about the quality of the final product, so to speak, because as Eldar has already mentioned, we sent a couple of Ukrainian recipes to the school in Jersey City, and they did the same. So we wanted to have this, like, again, a bridge between the two countries. We sold a couple of things from an American culture, and they did the same in the United States, selling like our stuff, our like traditional food. This was the thing I liked a lot about this, that this collaboration between the children, and they did it very easily without not much effort, that it was fun. And I enjoyed even more, I enjoyed the final probably stage when we both of the students probably, they have already mentioned that we wanted to share the video of these two fairs, and both in the United States and in Ukraine, we asked the students to make like short videos of the process of cooking, baking, selling stuff, and then the initial big video came up. And when we've been choosing this song, because we have these video pictures of different videos put together, and I wanted to have a song. And we took Carol of the Bells, and we still decided to do this, but we took a Ukrainian song presented by Pentatonics, like American artists. And this was the best moment probably, because this was this final stage we all enjoyed. This was nice.
Yeah, that's definitely a fun crowning moment. What were some of the recipes you shared with the American students, and why pick those recipes? Like, tell me about them, because now I'm curious about what recipes you shared with them.
Very simple things, cookies. We usually, basically, we have so much in common.
Okay.
Really, we have a lot of things in common. We didn't send anything difficult to be cooked. No, we shared some things we do every day, the same gingerbread cookies, for example, or Christmas cakes, very simple things to do. And then we understood that a lot of things we do the same. And this was a lovely moment.
Yeah, interesting. Let's say this question might be a little bit away from the program, but I still want to know a little bit about the Ukrainian culture, and the things that, let's say, define or at the forefront of Ukrainian identity, such that you experience this. Let's say the things that when you get to Ukraine, everybody would say, if you never experienced this, then you never visited Ukraine, sort of. And I want to know if there are any foods, any music that are of that nature that you would say, if you want to know what Ukrainian feels like, taste this specific food and it has this cultural story behind it.
Okay, I'll pass a ball to the students probably. Begin, gentlemen.
Okay, let's start with Hryhorii. Any particular foods that feel like that to you?
I think that what you should try when you come to Ukraine is borscht. It's made with
beetroot.
Beetroot?
Beetroot soup. Yeah.
Oh.
Borscht is our traditional beetroot soup. And this is a good one. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Eldar, what about you?
Yeah, I think not about food, like maybe the carols, like the Christmas tradition to come door to door and sing carols. Yeah, it's like you need to experience this if
Wait, you go
you
door to
want
door
to say you came to Ukraine. Yeah, like from building to building, door to door, to like and sing different carols. It's like a Christmas vibe in Ukraine.
Okay, now that's impressive. That's super cool. Super cool. Olena, the ball is back to you. Uh, it went
Yeah.
around. You threw it around and it came back to you. Yeah.
Okay, things you need to experience to feel Ukrainians. Hmm. I would probably say something about our ancient cities,
Okay.
because when you come to Ukraine, especially the western part of Ukraine, where
Yeah.
we are right now, and
Yeah.
many people from the whole country who fled the war, we are located in the western part of Ukraine. We live in the beautiful region. This is a very nice city of Lviv, and it's an ancient one,
Yeah.
and it's there are so many lovely sightseeing places of interest, monuments, museums. You can feel the sanctity of the city. You can feel the rhythm of the city here. And
Yeah.
you need, yeah, probably you need to do this. And plus, probably additionally, I would personally invite you to our mountains. We have a range of the
Oh,
Carpathian Mountains, and this is something we are very proud of.
interesting. Now I'm curious about when next I'll get the opportunity to visit Ukraine.
You're
Because
always welcome.
yeah, yeah, I'm super interested in the Christmas carols one.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, Christmas culture is not that great in Ghana. I mean, it is because it's like families do their own small things. So you barely experience Christmas on a communal level of that nature where people go door to door and Christmas carols, and it's like there's a sense of unification around it, which is really, really nice. Yeah. Thanks so much for sharing with me on some of the cool things around Ukraine and Ukrainian culture as well. Um, let's come back to the program and then we'll try and wrap up very, very soon. But what elements of the program really helped students develop what you'd call global competency? And the main reason I asked this question is that we know today we say we exist in a globalized world. Everyone sort of is competing technically with everyone else elsewhere in the world. And so when you are developing skills, you are not just looking at skills that work for you in your country or in your city, you are looking at skills that work for you on a global scale as well. And I'm trying to figure out if someone was joining this program and they were thinking about what core skills they could get to help them interact with the wider world, with the bigger world out there. What are some parts of the program that you can point to that you could say helps them develop certain specific skills? In other words, I'm basically asking you to pitch the program to me. If I was a student who wanted to join, and I'm concerned about whether the program would help me develop these skills, how would you explain the program to me, or what parts of the program would you use to assure me that it gives me these set of skills that I'm looking for? And by these set of skills, I mean confidence, critical thinking, collaboration, coordination. Yeah.
Mhm. I believe that I would initially say that, guys, your life is your oyster. You need to cherish something inside. But for you to get the pearl from the oyster, you need to try hard. You need to develop something.
Yeah.
You mentioned that it's the world is globalized now, and people, we are so open to each other, but on the
Yeah.
other hand, we are so closed. It's so
Yeah.
difficult to start even talking, to
Yeah.
start I believe that probably the most challenging activity was activity number one, when you need to present
Mm,
yourself, when you need to say a couple of words about yourself, because sometimes we do not know what to tell about us. And this was quite a challenging thing to do. But right after that, we developed new skills of how to present yourself in a nutshell using 3, 4, 5 sentences and a picture. You need to think hard. It's a super easy task. It's a super easy activity, but it was so difficult to perform. I'm so happy that the students have this experience now, because now in any situation when they need to start the conversation, when they need to present themselves, even in terms of public speaking, maybe they will do it easily because they know something about themselves. And this program gave them a chance just to structurize everything about themselves in their head, which is quite a good thing, I believe.
Wow. Like, okay, this is so true. And yet almost, because I've always looked at activity number 1 as the simplest activity of all of them, which is, and for those who are listening and watching, activity number 1 of the program is basically post a few pictures of yourself, maybe 1 or 2 pictures, and tell us why you like those pictures and who you are, which is straightforward. It's like making a social media post, right? But also what Olena says is true, because that activity is the one that you would vividly notice students delay on the most. It takes sometimes, because we run the activities on a weekly basis, so let's say week 1, sometimes you post the activity on Monday and it's Thursday and you have very few students who've said anything about themselves. And that's so true about how difficult it is to actually open up about who we are, and even not just open up, but how do we present ourselves? Who are we? Because within that question is for you to find out exactly who you are and present who you are to that audience that is out there. And sometimes we are so many different versions of ourselves in so many different settings, and we like so many different things, and we are struggling to find out which of these things define me the most. And I think that activity, like you've just said, is so powerful, but I'd never viewed it as being that powerful until this moment. And you've given me a whole new appreciation of exactly what that activity does for the students. Thanks so much for that as well. Let's go to Eldar and then we'll come to Hryhorii. Which of these activities that you do, which of these things that you learn in the program, do you think give you skills that you can use to live your life moving forward?
Yeah, like I joined the school in like 7th grade. Yeah, in the beginning of 7th grade. I was a really shy person. I didn't even talk to my classmates for like maybe a week. I was like really scared. I really had a hard time changing a school. Yeah. And now I see, like, I look back at the person I was, I see how much I progressed and how much this program helped me to like learn a new social skills to become like a good person. You can share your secrets or like, yeah, entrust something.
It's so ironic, like so strange to me that you say you were a shy person, because you've been on the podcast for what, almost 45 minutes or even longer, and you've been talking. So I'm like, wait, what? That is a shy person. And then you mention, okay, makes a lot more sense now, which is, it's, to be very honest, this is from me to you. You've done a really wonderful job at overcoming that shyness as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
How you've presented yourself on this episode of the podcast is really, really inspiring. And if for me, this is the change that the program has brought to you, and this is what it's contributed to make you into, I'm super happy for you, and I'm super proud of the fact that you took the program as well. Hryhorii, what skills do you see that people would get from this program as well?
I agree with Eldar that it really boosts your social awareness, because when I video, I wasn't sure if the people will like it. What if they don't like me? What if they won't? What if they wouldn't want to do the project with me?
Yeah.
Yes, but when I posted it, everyone left a positive feedback. So yeah.
It's what you mentioned here is a really important skill, because I know so many brilliant people who are just scared of speaking. And sometimes that's the difference between those who become successful and those who are not. It's not always that those who are successful are the smartest people. It's just that they are the people who are brave enough to talk. They are the people who are brave enough to share their ideas. They are the people who are brave enough to question something, or to ask a question, or to present themselves to do some work. And what you've mentioned here is really, really true, that a lot of the time when we are thinking about something, we don't feel confident about it enough. And we think that this thing might not be great. People might not receive it well. But going through a program where everyone is so supportive, and then you get to realize that actually the things that you are thinking, almost everyone is thinking the same things. And that helps you, it boosts your confidence, because now you know that you are also smart. Now you know that you are also a brilliant person. And so when you have ideas, you should speak them up. And trust me, it is true. Sometimes some people will disagree with you, but that's where the flexibility comes in. And that's where you being yourself also comes in. Okay, so it's a really, really good skill that you've picked up. And I'm really happy that you picked up these skills as well. Now, the final question for this episode, for this conversation that we've had, I'm so sad that it's coming to an end, because I've enjoyed talking to all of you. But the final question I wanted to ask is, how did the program change you? If you look at yourself 14 weeks before you started the program and 14 weeks after the program, what do you see about yourself that you can definitely point to, that this changed about me after I completed this program? Eldar.
Yeah, maybe I'm repeating myself, but like this is the main thing I can mention, that I became like really more sociable. Like I'm not that shy anymore. That's what really changed about me. Changed, yeah.
Have you made any new friends?
Yes, of course. I like even now I communicate with some of the New Jersey students. Yeah, I played some games with them. Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Congratulations on making new friends
Thank
and
you.
and beating that. Hryhorii, what about you? What changed about you after the program?
I became more sure in myself. So next time I will do a similar project, I will know that when I'm like posting a video of myself telling something about myself, I will know that people feel the same way.
Yeah, yeah. That's also a really, really important thing. And I'm so happy that you now feel that confidence about yourself, because I sometimes just think about how frustrating it could be for you to not really trust yourself, for you to not really be proud of yourself or be confident enough to put yourself out there. And we always say that when people don't like you and people hate you is bad. The worst form of it is when you don't seem to like yourself, or when you don't appreciate yourself, because you can ignore the people, but you can never ignore yourself. Right. So to be able to overcome that, it's so important. And I really, really love the fact that you got to experience the program in a way that changed that aspect of you. And trust me, it's going to help you go a long way. And generally, it just makes you feel happy as a person, because then you are much more confident with who you are, and you appreciate who you are on a whole new level. And I'm so happy for you guys. Olena, for the final question is up to you. What changed about you after the program, and any final words you have for people listening, and for your students who are going to, the rest of your students who are not here, who are going to listen to this episode as well?
Well, I might say that I found some courage in this project, because I was also shy. I was also stressed. I didn't know how to start the whole thing. But
Yeah.
then, step by step, one step at a time, there is 1 week and we need to do something for now, right now. And when I understood that I was a kind of a matchmaker all the time, because I was
Yeah.
trying to connect very different parts together. It's a kind of a big patchwork thing for me to keep it in my mind, to keep this like a helicopter view from above, to see how the things work. You do understand that probably sometimes they won't work the way you want them to work, but you are fine with that. And I decided not to be so hard on myself. If everything doesn't go the way I wanted, it doesn't mean that the project doesn't work. It works, but it works in a different but beautiful way. That's why this whole thing about this project and taking part in Ukraine Youth Network. This is, for me personally, it's about being brave, not to be afraid, to talk to people, to communicate, to put different parts of one puzzle together.
Wow. I said this was the last question, but I'm going to ask one last question. And everybody would have to answer this one. It's mainly to all students who would listen to this, all friends who would listen to this, your friends from the US who you collaborated on the program with, anything you want to tell any other person who would listen to this. I'll give everyone the opportunity to speak up. So let's start from you, Eldar, then we'll go to Hryhorii, and then we'll go to Olena.
Yeah, maybe like the main thing I want to say to all of you is like to not be shy, like be yourself, and yeah, the people will like you. I trust me.
Wow. Be yourself and people will like you. Hryhorii, anything you want to share with everyone else?
I agree with Eldar. So, like, you shouldn't be shy. Just people beside you who are doing this project are the same as you. They don't usually know who they're doing the project with, so they have to get along. And so be sure in yourselves.
Yeah. That's so inspiring from the two of you as well. Olena, final words this time.
Right.
Actual final words.
Okay. I would probably add, and I would say that, guys, seize a moment. If you are invited, if your teachers ask you to participate, please seize this moment, seize this opportunity, try. If you do not try, you lose nothing, right? You stay where you are. But if you succeed, there will be another chance for you to find something interesting about yourself, first of all. You are braver. You are more open to people. You are better than you might even think for now. So seize this opportunity.
That's so nice and so inspiring to hear from all of you. And thank you so much for joining me to have this conversation. I enjoy having conversations all the time. I always tell people my most recent episode is my best episode yet, because every single episode I record is so nice, and it's like a new way of knowing different things about the world and different people. And trust me, for those who don't know, I've been in this program. I was part of the last cohort. In a new cohort working on it. But this discussion with all of you now has really made me see the program entirely different, because it's when you are facilitating. I'm not a teacher. I'm not in the classroom with the students. I'm not a student. I'm not experiencing exactly what I heard Eldar and Hryhorii talk about today. And so I'm separated to a large degree from all the other major parts of the program that it's ongoing. And even though I could say, yeah, I support, I don't think I'm the one who benefits or who experiences the very core of the program. And to listen to all of you who experience that core, discuss exactly what that experience looks like and what you get out of it. Trust me, it's changed a lot about how I see the program. And I'm definitely sure that from here on, the way in which I view a student post will be entirely different. It wouldn't be about the student has a responsibility to post and they made a post. It's about what that student went through, what fears did they overcome, what experiences, how did they determine to make that post, and to appreciate exactly what they are sharing. Because now it's not just sharing a post, it's sharing a piece of themselves, and sometimes just overcoming their fears and putting themselves out there to be appreciated by everyone. And so thank you all so much for joining me on this episode. And as we wrap up today's episode, I want to take a moment to reflect on the incredible journey that we've just explored through the Ukraine Youth Action Network. This program isn't just about connecting students across borders like we've seen. It's really about creating a global community, creating passionate people, creating empathetic people, and also helping them discover who they truly are to enable them make a real difference in the world. And from the very first week, where students shared photos and stories to introduce themselves, through to the final presentations of their collaborative projects, the program has shown the power of connection. And listening to these stories, listening to the experiences now, really, really tells me that this program is changing the lives of people in a very huge way, because these are attributes that affect all other aspects of their lives as well. So before we go, I want to thank our amazing guests, Olena, Eldar Hryhorii, for sharing their stories and insights today. Your experiences are a testament of the power of this incredible program, and we are so grateful that you made the time to do this. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Let's spread the word about the Ukraine Youth Action Network program and the incredible work that these young leaders are doing. Let's also spread the word about Ukraine and stand with communities that need our help and support in any way that we can. As always, this is Andrews signing off from the Shaft Conversations. And remember that no matter where you are in the world, you have the power to make a difference. Until next time, take care and keep building connections like we do on the Ukraine Youth Action Network program. Thanks, everyone, and see you on the next episode.